Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging into a soccer match that, well, it really wasn't just another game. It felt like a fascinating moment in global club soccer.
Yeah, it really did. Kind of transcended the typical 90 minutes, gave us a compelling look at the sport's evolving landscape.
We're setting the scene at the 2025 Club World Cup, a major international stage, and it brought together a European powerhouse and an American MLS team for a historic first-time official encounter.
That's right. And our mission today really is to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge, the insights from the sources, helping you understand not just what happened on the field, but why it matters. In the bigger picture of professional soccer, we'll get into the raw data, the human element, the strategy, all the decisions that shaped this pivotal Group B match. Hopefully provide some surprising facts and an engaging analysis.
Our specific focus for this deep dive, the clash between Paris Saint-Germain, PSG, of course, and the Seattle Sounders. In this match, it was absolutely packed. Tactical nuances, standout players, and, as we'll explore, some pretty significant implications for both clubs, for their leagues.
And what a narrative. You mentioned it. Seattle's start.
Yeah. Spirited, audacious, really caught people off guard, I think.
Definitely. And then you contrast that with PSG's, clinical efficiency later on.
And then those group standings that emerged. Wow. Absolutely surprising.
Yeah, lots to unpack. The goal is for you, our listener, to feel truly well-informed by the end, but, without feeling overwhelmed.
Exactly. We want to connect all the dots, show how this one game sort of illustrates the current hierarchy, but also the ambitious future of global soccer.
So let's maybe kick things off with the core outcome, the result itself.
Good idea. Paris Saint-Germain secured a 2-0 victory over the Seattle Sounders. And this win wasn't just, 3 points. It decisively secured their spot in the 2025 Club World Cup round of 16. They topped Group B.
And what's truly fascinating here, I think, is the sheer historical weight. This specific match, it marked the very first official, formal confrontation ever between an MLS team and a French club.
Think about that. Decades. These leagues exist.
Yeah.
Different continents, different soccer culture.
Exactly. And they'd never crossed paths competitively. This wasn't a friendly kickabout. It was high-stakes, competitive, real implications.
On a global stage, too. Adds a whole different layer of intensity, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It says something about the Club World Cup's growing importance that this kind of first happens there.
And the specifics really paint the picture. The match date was June 23rd, 2025. Kicked off 7:00 p.m. UTC.
Which was what? 3:00 a.m. Taipei time on June 24th? That's dedication from those fans.
Seriously. Venue was Lumen Field in Seattle, Washington. Iconic stadium. Great atmosphere, usually.
Yeah, known for it.
And the attendance. Pretty significant. 50,628 spectators.
That's strong. Lumen Field holds what? Nearly 69,000? So over 50K is impressive support. Shows the passion in Seattle, especially for a game like this.
Right, against a European giant. And the official's Chilean referee, Christian Garay, well-regarded, known for handling big games.
Keeps things under control.
Supported by Juan Lara and Miguel Rocha on VAR. So, every big moment under scrutiny. Standard stuff for these big tournaments.
So connecting this to the bigger picture, for PSG, this win means advancement. They top the group, look ahead to the knockouts.
Smooth sailing, relatively speaking.
Right. But for the Seattle Sounders, making their debut in the Club World Cup, this result meant elimination.
Yeah, tough outcome. Expected by some, maybe, given PSG's status.
Probably. But still, it carries that weight, First time for an MLS team on this stage. Even elimination is valuable experience, data points for the league. Shows the level required.
Okay, let's dive right into the action then. The first half, what really stood out and maybe surprised a few people was Seattle's start. Aggressive, impressive, audacious even.
That's precisely right. They didn't just sit back. Schmetzer had them playing this high-pressing strategy, and for the first, say, 10 minutes, it worked. They pinned PSG back.
Really? Pinning PSG back?
Yeah, into their own defensive third. It showed real courage, good preparation. They clearly wanted to unsettle PSG early.
Any specific threats?
Oh, yeah. Obed Vargas had a long-range shot, just the third minute, kind of a warning shot. Jackson Regan had a header, too. Created some genuine concern for PSG. You could see it.
Crowd must have been buzzing then.
Oh, absolutely. Feeding off that energy. But, PSG is PSG.
Right. You expect them to weather that storm.
And they did. Gradually, they started to assert control, found their rhythm, used their technical quality, and eventually, that possession stat. Staggering. 78.2% of the ball.
78%.
Yeah.
That just tells you everything about the control, doesn't it? Starving the opposition. Almost suffocating.
It really is. And this leads us right to Seattle's biggest missed opportunity, a moment that could have just changed everything.
Ah, yes, the 18th minute. What happened exactly?
Okay, so Paul Rothrock, sheer audacity, he dispossesses Gianluigi Donnarumma, PSG's keeper, right in his own box.
Yeah, you don't see that often. Donnarumma caught out.
Exactly. Rothrock quickly plays it to Jesus Ferreira. Clear look at goal. Open net, practically. The stadium noise just builds. And Ferreira's shot goes over the crossbar. Agonizingly over. A golden chance. The kind you replay in your head.
Oh, man. Those are the moments, aren't they? The what-ifs. Seattle fans must still be thinking about that one. A goal there changes the whole dynamic.
Totally. Imagine the confidence boost for Seattle. The pressure on PSG, it just underscores how vital clinical finishing is at this level. One injury makes all the difference.
So they missed that chance.
And then PSG get their opening goal, 35th minute. And it definitely had a slice of luck, you have to say.
How so?
Vitinha takes a shot. It's blocked by a Seattle defender, but the ball ricochets off Khvicha Kvaratskhelia and just bounces into the net.
A lucky bounce then. Wrong foot of the keeper.
Pretty much. One of those scrambles where the ball just finds a way.
It highlights that unpredictability in soccer, doesn't it? Luck plays a part. But also, Kvaratskhelia was there. In the right place.
That's a great point. It wasn't just random. He was active in a dangerous spot. Luck favored the attacker. And even though it was lucky, that goal fundamentally shifted the momentum. PSG go in 1-0 up at halftime. Changes the whole feel of the game, especially after Seattle's promising start.
Yeah, that must have been a bit deflating for Seattle going into the break.
For sure, and it allowed PSG to dictate the second half more on their terms.
So we move into the second half, and this is where you really saw Luis Enrique's tactical adjustments make a difference.
Yeah, you could sense a shift. Subtle, but effective. They seem to have clearer instructions.
Was there a key substitution that stood out?
Definitely. Bradley Barcola coming on for Warren Zaire-Emery in the 63rd minute, that was pivotal.
Why him specifically? What did he change?
Barcola brought fresh legs, sure, but also real pace and directness on that left wing. A different kind of threat. He runs at defenders, creates space, just what they needed.
And it paid off pretty quickly, didn't it? The second goal.
Almost immediately. The second goal, 66th minute. It was pure, clinical, counterattacking soccer. The top European teams execute so well.
Yeah, it felt almost inevitable once they broke. Describe the buildup.
So Barcola just on, already causing trouble. He makes this decisive break down the left, leaves defenders trailing, then whips in a perfect cross, precise, cuts out the defense.
And Hakimi was there to finish it.
Flawlessly. Achraf Hakimi, the right back, makes this brilliant timed run from deep, shows incredible instinct reading the play.
Great run.
Then a calm, composed, first-time finish past Stefan Frei, who was rushing out. 2-0, game pretty much sealed.
And that goal, it wasn't just the scoreline, was it? It sort of exemplified PSG's quality.
Yeah. Clinical execution, capitalizing on the transition. That's the hallmark of elite teams. They don't need loads of chances. They wait, then bang. Ruthless efficiency. A masterclass in counterattacking.
After that, the game was largely settled. But there was still a really touching moment, wasn't there, for the Seattle fan?
Oh, absolutely. The 87th minute, Jordan Morris comes on.
A local hero, right, coming back from injury.
Exactly. And the entire stadium, all 50,000 plus they just rose to their feet. Huge standing ovation.
Must have been quite emotional.
It really was. The roar was almost as loud as for a goal. Just this wave of affection, relief maybe. Genuine support for one of their own. Even in defeat, it showed the warmth of that Seattle soccer culture.
That's great to see. What's the significance of something like that when the result is already decided?
It just highlights that bond, doesn't it? Between the team and the fans. It transcends the score, reminds you of the human side of sports.
Yeah.
Even when you're disappointed, that connection is there. It says a lot about the community they've built around soccer in Seattle. It's more than just winning or losing.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit more then. Dive into the tactics, the formations, the strategies the coaches went with. It's always fascinating to see how those different philosophies play out.
Absolutely. So Brian Schmetzer's Seattle Sounders, they set up in a pragmatic 4-2-3-1.
Can you break down the lineup for us?
Sure. Frei in goal, back four, Alex Roldan, Bell, Reagan, and Nuhu Tolo. Then that crucial double pivot in midfield, Obed Vargas and Christian Roldan.
Providing cover for the defense.
Exactly. shielding the backline, trying to break up PSG's passing. Then ahead of them, Kent, Rusnak, and Rothrock, supporting the lone striker, Jesus Ferreira.
So that double pivot was key to their plan.
Yeah.
Trying to stifle PSG centrally.
Definitely. Especially early on, protect the middle, try to transition quickly to the attackers, a solid, pragmatic approach.
And on the other side, PSG under Luis Enrique.
Their classic 4-3-3, Donnarumma in goal, back four. Hakimi, Marquinhos, Beraldo, Nuno Mendes.
Strong backline.
Very. Midfield trio, technically gifted Vitinha, João Neves, Fabian Ruiz. And then the front three, Doué, Mayulu, and Kvaratskhelia.
And their philosophy, possession-based, fluid.
Exactly. Centered on possession, but also fluid positional play. That's key for Enrique's teams. Players interchange, create confusion, open up spaces, not rigidly stuck to positions.
And that midfield's technical quality just allowed them to control the game.
Pretty much. Dictate the pace, dictate the flow. It was evident throughout.
So amidst these tactics, some individuals really shone. Who stood out for you?
Well, Khvicha Kvaratskhelia for PSG, rated 8.5 out of 10. And honestly, probably the most active, most dangerous player on the pitch.
What made him so effective?
Just constant threat. His dribbling is mesmerizing, quick changes of direction, those runs into dangerous areas. Seattle really struggled with him, even beyond the goal, which was lucky. His movement, his creativity, constant headache for the defense.
Yeah, he looked like a real live wire out there. Anyone else?
Achraf Hakimi, the right back, an 8.0 rating. Immensely impressive two-way performance.
We talked about his goal. Perfectly timed, cool finish.
Right. Epitomizes the modern fullback, doesn't it? Huge attacking contribution, but he was defensively solid too. Provided with overlapping runs, pace, but also tracked back well. Created multiple threats.
So subtruding at both ends. And for Seattle, any standouts despite the result?
Definitely Stefan Frei, the goalkeeper, rated 7.0. He was their most outstanding player, without a doubt.
Kept the score down.
Absolutely. Made 4 crucial saves, point-blank stops. Prevented it from becoming a rout. He's blameless on both goals deflection, perfect counter. Showed his experience, his class under pressure.
And that contrast you mentioned earlier, Frei's 4 saves, Donnarumma 0.
Yeah, it just perfectly illustrates the flow of the game, doesn't it? It tells you exactly where the pressure was and how effectively PSG snuffed out Seattle's attacks before they became real chances.
Okay, we've looked at the tactics, the key players. Let's shift gears now and dig into the numbers. The stats. Because they often tell a deeper story, right? Provide that objective layer.
Absolutely. And the numbers here really underscore the narrative we've been building. Let's start with possession and attack. The possession disparity is stark. PSG, 78.2%. Seattle, 21.8%.
It's just overwhelming control for PSG. Must be exhausting for Seattle.
Incredibly so. Physically, mentally, just chasing shadows for long periods. Then shots. PSG had 15 attempts, Seattle had 7.
Okay, difference there, but maybe not massive.
But here's the kicker. Shots on target. PSG had 7, Seattle had
0. Wow. That is telling. Shows the difference in attacking quality, maybe defensive solidity from PSG too?
Both, I think. PSG gave them very little. Forced Seattle into hopeful shots from distance.
And expected goals, XG. How does that look?
That confirms it. PSG's XG was 2.12. Seattle's, just 0.6.
So for listeners maybe newer to XG, that means PSG weren't just shooting more, they were creating much higher quality chances.
Exactly. High probability chances from good positions. Seattle's few attempts were low percentage, which explains Donnarumma's 0 saves statistically.
Interesting. What about corners? Any joy there for Seattle?
Surprisingly, maybe, PSG had 7 corners to Seattle's 6. So Seattle did manage to create some pressure moments, maybe from set pieces or forcing clearances, even if they couldn't convert them into shots on goal.
Okay, moving on to passing and organization. What did the stats show there?
Continued PSG dominance. Pass completion. PSG an impressive 91%. Seattle 78%.
Still decent for Seattle under pressure, but that 91% for PSG?
It's very high. And the sheer volume PSG completed around 1,500 passes. That's roughly 3 times Seattle's total.
1,500 passes. That's controlling the tempo, wearing down the opposition.
Precisely. Patient build-up, making Seattle constantly shift and chase. And their midfield qualities showed in key passes, those passes leading directly to a chance. They consistently unlocked the defense.
And defensively, disciplinary stats.
We mentioned the saves, Frei 4, Donnarumma 0, fouls. PSG committed 8, Seattle 12. Suggests Seattle's more aggressive, maybe sometimes desperate, defending.
Trying to break up the rhythm.
Yeah. Only 1 yellow card in the match, João Neves for PSG late in the first half. So relatively clean from PSG, maintained composure.
And clearances.
This is another stark one. Seattle made 23 clearances. PSG made just 7.
23 clearances. That just screams defensive pressure, doesn't it? Constantly clearing their lines.
Underlines it perfectly, spending so much time absorbing attacks in their own third.
So here's where it gets really interesting, as you say, connecting these numbers back.
Right. They just completely underpin the story. PSG's clinical dominance, Seattle's brave but outmatched effort. The stats aren't just numbers, they're the objective proof of that tactical battle, the gulf in control, the difference in chance creation. They leave no doubt about why PSG won.
The numbers paint a clear picture, definitely. But, stats don't capture everything, the emotion, the intent. To get that, let's bring in the voices from the sidelines, from the field, hear their reactions after the whistle.
Good idea. Let's start with Luis Enrique, PSG's head coach. He expressed happiness with the win, obviously, called it a great game, but also acknowledged it was difficult from the start. Praised Seattle's intensity and quality.
So respect for the opponent.
Definitely. But what's really interesting and adds context is he specifically mentioned the field conditions.
Oh, yeah. What did he say?
He said, not easy to play on this type of field, very different from European fields. The grass is different, not easy to maintain the fluidity of our style of play, but we adapted very well.
Huh. That's fascinating. So even PSG felt the surface was a challenge. Shows their professionalism in adapting.
Exactly. It's a factor you don't always think about. Makes you wonder how much it affected their passing game.
Yeah, and maybe if Seattle could have capitalized even more on simpler, direct play because of it. Interesting. What about Brian Schmetzer, Seattle's coach?
He felt it was a good start. Said his players started the game with desire, knowing they faced one of Europe's best. He also revealed he'd studied Botafogo's performance against PSG.
Ah, learning from others in the group. Smart.
Right. Knew they'd have to withstand some pressure and needed to play brave, smart, and intelligent. Sounds like a clear, researched plan, emphasizing discipline and courage.
And any players speak.
Just a brief but telling comment from João Neves, the PSG midfielder. He said, "This is a happy day. It feels good. We are going to Atlanta. Whatever the opponent, we will try to integrate our philosophy into the game."
Simple, focused, reinforces their commitment to their style, already looking ahead.
Exactly. No complacency. Stick to the philosophy.
So, hearing from the coaches.
Yeah.
What's the takeaway?
Yeah.
It shows mutual respect, right? But also that focus on adaptation, learning. Even top teams face challenges, whether it's the opponent or the pitch.
Yeah, it's not just talent. It's strategy, prep, adjusting on the fly. And for Seattle, clear evidence of an intelligent approach to a massive challenge.
Okay, let's widen the focus now to the final Group B standings, the full picture of who went through and who surprisingly didn't. This is where the story got really dramatic.
It really did. And incredibly tight. The final points table, PSG finished first, 6 points, impressive +5 goal difference, qualified as group winners.
Makes sense after that win.
Then Botafogo, also 6 points, but only a +1 goal difference. That was enough, though. They scraped through in second place, qualified.
Okay, so who missed out? Because someone else had 6 points too, right?
Exactly. Here's where it gets really interesting. Atletico Madrid, European powerhouse, expected to go deep. They also finished with 6 points. But their goal difference was -1, inferior to Botafogo's +1. So shockingly, Atletico Madrid were eliminated.
Wow. Eliminated at the group stage. A team like Atletico, that's huge.
Massive upset. They became the first European giant ever knocked out in the Club World Cup group stage. Defied all expectations. Shows the competitiveness, the unpredictability of this tournament now.
Sends shockwaves, I bet. Reputation isn't enough. And Seattle.
Seattle, as we knew, finished with 0 points, -5 goal difference, also eliminated, completing their debut campaign.
So looking ahead then, round of 16, PSG as Group B winners. Who they face?
They're set to face Inter Miami, who finished second in Group A.
Another MLS versus Europe clash then.
Exactly. That match is on June 29th. Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta provides another crucial test for MLS. Another measuring stick against the world's best. Different teams, same challenge. Invaluable experience for the league.
Okay, let's broaden the lens even further now. Beyond the scoreline, the standings. Let's talk historical significance, fan reactions. This game felt like more than just soccer. It was a moment, a collection of milestones.
It really was. Set multiple historical records, making it a landmark event. First, as we said, the first ever official match between an MLS team and a French club. Huge milestone.
Opens a new chapter.
Second, Seattle Sounders. The first MLS team ever to participate in the Club World Cup. Symbolic weight for American soccer right there.
Massive step for the league.
And third, Atletico Madrid's elimination. First European giant knocked out at the group stage, adds to the tournament's unpredictable narrative, maybe hints at a shifting balance. These aren't small footnotes.
Definitely not. And the local fans in Seattle, despite the elimination, that atmosphere sounded incredible.
Yeah, 50,000 plus passionate fans throughout, testament to their dedication, the soccer culture there.
And that ovation for Jordan Morris.
Powerful moment, showcased that warmth, that community connection. And it wasn't just inside the stadium. The pre-match fan fest drew huge crowds too. It's a citywide passion.
How did it play out on social media? What was the fan sentiment online?
Mostly focused on that skill gap, you know? Acknowledging the difference between Europe and MLS. But generally, people felt Seattle put on a respectable performance.
Especially given the start.
Right. Not seen as a total demolition, more a dignified effort against superior opposition. The source also mentioned, neutrally, some fans displayed Palestinian flags, sparking some political discussion online, which reflects how these global events can become platforms.
And the mainstream media take? How did they evaluate it?
ESPN's analysis was pretty blunt. Paris Saint-Germain was too strong for this MLS team without even playing to their full potential.
Oof. Stark assessment of the talent gap.
Yeah. But they also said Seattle completed their Club World Cup debut with dignity. So acknowledging the disparity but respecting the effort and professionalism shown. A nuanced view.
So wrapping this all up, what does it mean for the future? The broader implications for MLS for the global game. This tournament, this match, offers some big lessons, right? Maybe painful, but valuable.
Indeed. For MLS, the impact is pretty clear. Seattle's 0 points from 3 games. It starkly exposed that gap with the world's top tier, especially Europe.
No hiding from that.
No. But while it highlights the current deficit, it also underscores the potential for growth in American soccer. It's a benchmark. Where are we now? Where do we need to aim?
And critical factor is just money, right? The financial disparity.
Huge factor. The source points this out clearly. Botafogo invested $25 million in new players just for this. Seattle's entire historical investment in their roster, only $40 million.
That difference is just massive, dictates everything.
Absolutely. Talent attraction, retention, academy investments, salary caps. MLS operates under different constraints. So Seattle's effort wasn't just about tactics. It was a clash of economic realities in global soccer.
And for PSG, what did this win mean beyond just qualifying?
More than just 3 points, yeah. It let them regain form, confidence, especially after that surprise loss to Botafogo earlier. Enrique's adjustments worked, the performance built momentum, laid a solid foundation for the knockouts, showed their resilience.
So, stepping back even further, what does this match tell us about global soccer development?
Well, it's a fresh reminder of the hierarchy, isn't it? European top clubs, with their money, history, talent pathways, they still lead in technical ability, tactics, squad depth.
That structure is still pretty clear.
It is. However, having teams like Seattle participate in these tournaments is invaluable. Even in defeat, the experience, the lessons learned are crucial for growth. It's a necessary step for leagues like MLS to learn, adapt, and eventually, hopefully, bridge that gap. Painful learning, but essential.
So we've really journeyed through it all, the history, the action on the field, the stats behind it, the implications.
Yeah, and the core takeaway seems clear. This match showed both the current hierarchy, Europe still on top, but also the courageous ambition of emerging leagues like MLS. They're determined to compete, to close that gap.
Which leads us to a final thought for you, our listener, to chew on. Given that clear talent gap, and especially the financial disparity we just discussed, what innovative strategies beyond just spending more money or signing big names could leagues like MLS actually employ to genuinely close that gap, to foster a truly competitive global club landscape?
Is it about revolutionizing youth development, finding undervalued talent through smarter scouting, unique league structures maybe, deeper global partnerships?
It makes you reflect on that balance, doesn't it? Between sheer financial muscle and the strategic, tactical, developmental work needed to build world-class soccer outside the traditional powerhouses.
It's a complex puzzle the whole sport is constantly working on, and matches like this PSG Seattle game, they offer really valuable pieces of that puzzle.
Well, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the PSG versus Seattle Sounders clash. We hope you've enjoyed exploring this fascinating world of knowledge with us. Until next time.